Hi everyone. Last time I already started about consumer behavior and what is all about it, the things that affects it, and who benefited on studying consumer behavior. Now let's discuss the first domain that affects consumer behavior. We have the psychological core. So it involves chapter 2, motivation, ability, and opportunity, exposure to comprehension, the memory and knowledge, attitudes on higher consumer effort, and attitudes on low consumer effort. So we'll discuss today the two chapters, that is the MOW, or the motivation, ability, and opportunity, and the exposure to comprehension. Motivation, ability, and opportunity. What is motivation? It is an inner state of arousal that provides energy needed to achieve a goal. When a consumer wants to uh, buy something or consume something, if he's motivated, he will do it. Okay? The effects is that it involves high effort behavior that creates willingness to spend time and energy engaging in this behavior, and of course the high effort information processing and decision making. When consumers are highly motivated to achieve a goal, they are more likely to pay careful attention to it, think about it, attempt to understand or comprehend goal, relevant information, evaluate that information critically, and try to remember it later use. So this takes a lot of effort. Then what we call motivated reasoning. It is the processing information in a way that allows consumers to reach the conclusion that they want to reach. It also involves involvement that refers to the psychological experience of the motivated consumer. And it has different types. We have the enduring involvement that involves long-term interest, situational involvement that involves only temporary interest, and cognitive involvement that involves thinking about and learning information pertinent to an offering, activity, and decisions. And of course, the active involvement that involves emotion and evoking the feelings about an offering, activity, or decision. Now, what affects motivation? Of course, the personal relevance, our consistency with self concept, perceived risk, and of course, inconsistency with attitudes. Now, let's move on with ability. If you are really motivated, the question is, do you have the ability or resources to act on buying a certain offerings or consuming a certain offerings, acquiring it, or disposing it? Ability is defined as the extent to which consumers have the resources needed to make an outcome happen. The resources of ability could be financial, cognitive, emotional, physical, social and cultural, and of course the education and age. Say for example, you don't have already an ability to walk around, take a jogging for a couple of hours because of your age. So you need to consider those resources. That is just an example. Okay? How about the opportunity? Even if we have ability, if we have high motivation, if you don't have the opportunity, you cannot do such thing as a consumer. Now there are tricky influences that affects the opportunity: time, distraction, and complexity, amount of information, repetition, and control of information. Now let's move on with exposure to comprehension. When we say exposure, it is something that reflects the process by which the consumer comes into contact with the stimulus. You know that when a person is exposed to a certain offerings, the more he will be or he will give attention to it. The, we have what we call marketing stimuli. It contains information about products or brands and other offerings communicated by either the marketer or the non-marketing resources. And there are different factors influencing exposure. We have the position of an ad, product distribution, and shelf placement, including also selective exposure. At sometimes, when we are not interested to a certain product, we do the fast forwarding and using a remote control to switch channels. Now, how about attention? It is the process by which we devote mental activity to a stimulus necessary for information to be processed, activate our senses. The time you are exposed into a certain offering, that's the time you also give attention to it. There are different characteristics of attention. It can be limited, selective, or divided. So it depends on the kind of attention we want to give to a certain offering. At times, when the things are unfamiliar, we give only limited attention. At times, when we want to consider one thing, we do selective. And at times, our attention is divided if there are many things that we are doing, or there are many offerings that is offered to us. So divided. Okay? We have what we call focal and non-focal attention. We have the pre-attentive processing, the non-conscious processing of stimuli in peripheral vision. And we have also the hemispheric lateralization, whether the stimulus is peripheral vision with picture or word, and whether it is placed the right side or the left side of focal item. Now, how to enhance consumer attention via marketing stimuli? Of course, it should be personally relevant, pleasant, surprising, and easy to process. Pleasant, we should hire attractive models, add some music, and of course, humor. Surprising should be novelty, there should be unexpectedness, and of course, a bit of puzzles. Easy to process, pre-stimuli should be prominent, concrete, and contrasting. Then limit amount of competing information. Attention defines customer segments, of course, habituation, the process by which stimulus loses its attention, getting abilities by virtue of its familiarity. That is why there are some companies doing innovation, because they don't want their consumers to lose their attention on their product. So they need to innovate the packaging so that they will get another attention to it. Oh, it's new. Okay. Perception. As I have said, when you give attention, you use your perception. And perception occurs when stimuli are registered by one of our five senses. We have the vision, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. Through vision, we consider the size and shape of a certain offering, lettering, the image, location, and package, the color that involves hue, saturation, and lightness. Of course, color affects our physiological responses or moods, and of course, the way we like certain color. There are people who like bright colors, there are people who love dark colors. Okay? Perceiving through hearing. Sonic identity, using certain music or sounds to identify a brand. And of course, sound symbolism from evaluation using information gleaned from hearing a brand sound, syllables, and words. There are certain ads that when we hear it, we already know what kind of product is that. Okay? Through taste, barring perception of what tastes good, and of course, we consider the cultural backgrounds. Why? We have different preferences when it comes to taste. Our taste may be different from those people from different countries. Okay? Through smell, physiological response or moods, product trial. Most of the time, we use our sense of smell when it comes to food, of course, most of the time on perfumes, of course, lighting, and light. Then perceiving through touch. We have the physiological response or moods also when it comes to touch. Some people may want a smooth one, some people may want a rough one, okay? Then how consumers perceive marketing stimuli through perceptual organization, figure on the ground, brochure, grouping, and bias for the group. Then after that, we do the comprehension. It is the process of extracting higher order meaning for what we have perceived in the connect of what we already know. We have what we call source identification. This is the process of determining what the perceived stimulus actually is. We have also the message comprehension. It can be objective or subjective, and the possibility of miscomprehension. including the effect of mouth on comprehension, of course, the culture. Then we draw out conclusions, that is, inferences. The effects on the brand name and symbols, product features and packaging, price, and retail atmospherics displays and distributions. And that ends my topic for the 2 chapters. On the next video, I will already present the other 3 chapters that involves in the psychological core.